students and parents. So I wanted to come out and just give a little bit of information. And I included the studies that I used for you guys. I've got it in here for you guys to take with you as well, okay? So the CDC performed a meta-analysis of all previous randomized controlled trials on 14 of them in May of 2020, when this all started, and their findings were that masks did not support a substantial effect on transmission of laboratory-confirmed influenza. The latest research was a randomized controlled trial from the Annals of Internal Medicine in November of 2020, with 6,000 plus Danish participants. The difference between masked versus unmasked contacting SARS-CoV-2, COVID, was not statistically significant. The British Medical Journal from 2015. This study is the first randomized controlled trial of cloth masks, and I want to say that the randomized controlled trial are the gold standard in studies. That's where we take away the people's ability to bias, and the results of that study caution against the use of cloth masks. This is an important finding, and I'm quoting them. This is an important finding to inform occupational health and safety. Moisture retention, reuse of cloth masks, and poor filtration may result in an increased risk of infection. Further research is needed to inform the widespread use of cloth masks globally. However, as a precautionary measure, cloth masks should not be recommended for healthcare workers, and that's from a healthcare setting. JAMA Pediatrics, the Journal of the American Medical Association Pediatrics, in 2021 did a randomized controlled trial and confirmed that masks cause unacceptable levels of carbon dioxide inside the mask within 3 minutes, which led to hypercapnia in the blood. This causes headaches, dizziness, impaired cognitive function, which you guys should be fully aware of as well, seizures, and loss of consciousness. Their conclusion states that children should not be forced to wear masks. This vaccine has been proven to cause death, vascular and heart inflammation, lung inflammation, decreased sperm count, damage to the blood-brain barrier, and so on. There are studies showing potential mad cow disease from the vaccine, along with major studies showing future major autoimmune dysfunction. I have included all the studies for you. We also have proof that 33% of the animal population now have antibodies to the SARS-CoV-2 virus, COVID. Animals are reservoirs that hold the virus and redistribute it to the human population. So what's next? Are we going to vaccinate all the animals? Are we going to put masks on every animal out there? You know, it sounds silly, but that's the same thing that we're doing to our children. COVID is a virus that we can never get rid of. It will continue to produce new variants and circulate through the population. The only way to get past this virus is to improve your immune system with diet and exercise and regular stress reduction. Stop scaring people. There are many natural immune stimulants and drugs to reduce the viral replication and inflammation. This is an agenda. We cannot continue to hide. We must return to business as usual. We have some homeschool options. We have some other ways that we can go if we need to get away from some of these situations, and viable school settings where our children will not be placed in harm's way. Thank you.
Together we stand, divided we fall. I live in LeGrand. My daughter will not attend LeGrand Public School due to their bowing down to Governor Kate Brown's authoritarian rule. We'll find other options, but I just want to know that it's not against the people, and I understand even the law enforcement. We all need to work together, stand together. We're not going to regress in this. This is not going to go away. We either stand now and make a stand. Nothing's going to be easy about it. If you're in the Bible and you read for the disciples of the Lord, they had lots of trials. So, we either stand now and do it peacefully, or who knows where we could end up. I just believe that the right to choose. Want to wear a mask? Feel free, wear a mask. If you don't, but don't force things on people. To each their own decision. It's a free country. The Constitution of the United States is still the official document of this country. If we're not careful, that'll be gone too. I just want you all to know that I'm here to stand alongside you, not behind you, but I'm here to work together with you. That's why I'm here. In Jesus' name, thank you for the time.
My name is Blake Bars. I'm with Union County Freedom Alliance at Nature's Pantry in LeGrand. From the very beginning of this pandemic, I understood kind of the knee-jerk reaction, but from what I've learned over the last couple of years about natural health and immunity boosting, it seems like we've done the exact opposite of what was good for people's health. I have a couple speeches that I've written. I was trying to decide which one to read, so we'll just go with this one. One of the things we heard last week from Superintendent Mendoza was the board's duty and the superintendent's duty is to uphold the law, right? And so he kept referring to these mandates as the law. Unfortunately, the executive branch of the government doesn't make law. The legislative branch of the government makes law. And so if the board and the superintendent are bound to the law, then they're first and foremost bound to the Constitution of the United States. And they're bound to their oath they swore to that. Then it's the Constitution of the United States supersedes state law, and it certainly supersedes any mandates. Now, I would be curious if we could do a public records request to the Attorney General, the highest law office in the land of Oregon, and do a public records request. Where is the law that states that emergency authority of the governor supersedes the Constitution? I would bet they'd have a hard time finding that law. One of the things we do know was that if you are going to mandate these things and they go beyond 30 days, they need to call a legislative session, which still to this day has never happened. The constitutional violations have been repeated over and over. I think there's like 9 or more constitutional violations by Kate Brown thus far. The corruption in our government on both sides of the aisle is staggering. Over the last several months, this darkness has come more and more into the light. The elite bureaucrats and great merchants of their big media, big pharma, big government have been conspiring on how to gain more profit, power, and control at the expense of true freedom and health for the people. Religious liberties, parental rights, medical freedom, freedom of speech, the right to bear arms, the right to be secure in our own person, the right to earn a living, and the freedom and safety of our own children are all under attack. As long as they keep us confused about who the real enemy is and keep us fighting each other, they can proceed. But we can win. Truth always comes to light, and good always triumphs over evil in the end. The time is now for us to rise up and say no more. We must move beyond left and right, beyond black and white, and as working people and free citizens, we must unite. Freedom has never come free throughout human history. There have been those who want to take it away and those who fight for it. It's time for you as elected officials to do what you were elected to do and uphold the Constitution of the United States and protect the children and their future. It's time for you, as many of us in our community already have, to put your necks on the line and risk something. To stand up to abuse of power. No longer can we sit idly by and do nothing. No longer can we be silent. For all it takes for evil to triumph is for good men and women to keep quiet and do nothing. The time has come to rise up, speak up, and stand together. How many have laid their lives down for freedom? We owe it to them. We owe it to our children and grandchildren to preserve the land of the free. Let's dare to live and fight fully for everything that is true, pure, and honorable. The Bible tells us to fear not 365 times. That's one time for every day of the year. Let's fire the narrative writers who spew fear constantly. Let's fire them. Let's pick up the pen ourselves and write our own story. We get to decide. We get to write the story for our children and their future. That's not their job. That's ours. Thank you. I appreciate your time, and I appreciate you guys. God bless you and all you do. I know it's a very tough position, and I know you all want to do absolutely 100% what's the best for the kids. So I appreciate you. Thank you.
My name is Brady Sage. I'm a substitute teacher in Baker, LeGrand, and the Elgin school districts. I've been a sub for a few years now, and I've seen over the past couple years the effects that masking, social distancing, social distance learning have had on our students, and my own children as well. And so I just want to point out a few statistics to reference here. Blake Bars mentioned that some of these mandates aren't exactly laws, but here is one law, and that is Oregon Statute 339.288 regarding prohibitions on use of certain restraints in school systems. The first few are things like chemical restraints, mechanical restraints, prone and supine restraints. And then down on the list it mentions any restraint that impedes or creates a risk of impeding breathing. And that is a law that I believe is currently being broken. I can prove it's being broken because of the AMA Journal study that I believe was referenced earlier regarding carbon dioxide. Normal carbon dioxide levels in the air are 400 parts per million. Anything over 2,000 parts per million is considered dangerously unacceptable. In the AMA study, 45 students from the ages of 6 to 17, their carbon dioxide levels were measured, and the averages came out to 13,000 to 13,900, which is 6 times the considered unacceptable level. And that was put out on June 30th, 2021.
I just think it's really important that we stand up for those that don't have a voice of their own. And right now, that's our primary age students. They don't get to speak up. They don't get to say, I can't do this anymore. And so I just feel really, really pushed right now to be their voice, even at the loss of things for me, because they don't have a voice to do it. And if we don't stand up for them, they're going to be our adults, and they're going to be the ones that don't have the emotional and social skills to navigate the world that we hand to them in 20 years. Thank you.
If any of you guys know my oldest, anybody that knows him says to me, he is always smiling. He is the happiest person. Like he always has the biggest smile on his face. Like, I don't get it. Like, how is he always, how is he so nice? How is he so gentle? How is he so kind? And I think back to when he was 5 and his grandpa was killed, and to ease the pain of his entire family, he would take family members on tours of old combines to ease their pain. He was 5. So he's always been the type of person to want to ease the pain in the room and be a healer and be a pleaser, and he's always been the happiest person that, he's been like, if there's anger in the room or he's uncomfortable and he wants to make it better. So when COVID first hit and we were just stranded at home, that actually made him happy because he went straight to work on combines and practice and stuff like that. And other kids were struggling with depression, so I had to talk to him about that. Like, I had to teach him what depression was and how hard that was for other kids, because that's a real thing. It was like the best 6 months of his life. But then once school started and he had to put on a mask, it was hard for him. And I tried to coach him through it and tried to coach him how to wear it properly. And that sounds silly because, I forgot to say, for those of you who don't know me, I'm a nurse. In fact, I'm a school nurse and I serve 5 school districts in Union County. So it sounds silly that I had to coach him how to wear a mask properly, but I did. I tried my best, and it would appear that I didn't try to coach him how to wear it properly because he struggled with it. But I and my husband did our best to have him wear it properly because those were the rules, and we wanted to do it right and do it well, to teach other people how to toe the line and do what we were supposed to get through this together. And we struggled at school, and I heard all about it from a lot of different people. And that's fine, I can handle that, because I know that my kids aren't the best. But I noticed over time that his light was fading, and I will never say he was getting depression, but his smile was fading, and he stopped going to school with a smile. He started to go to school angry, and he would, every day he'd have to go to Falls to buy a new mask, and he was angry. And I have never in my entire life seen that child angry. And that broke my spirit. Like, he is the most gentle, loving, wanting to heal, happy person. And he can handle always wearing the mask. And so one time a teacher asked me, well, actually the teacher told me, well, it's just like a uniform and they should just do it, because it's no different than having to wear a uniform, and you're going to be an adult one day and you're just going to have to wear a uniform. And I listened, and I agree, adults do have to wear a uniform, because when an adult applies for a job and chooses to accept that job, they do understand what the uniform is going to be. I was an operating room nurse before I was a school nurse, and I donned that mask for years, happily, joyfully, and willfully. I loved that mask because that gave me joy and honor to be an operating room mask wearer, nurse. But students didn't sign up to wear a mask or choose to wear the mask. And so what I've noticed over time is he started going to school angry. Teachers started resenting him. And I wouldn't say it stopped at resenting. I would say that they started actually, I would go as far as to almost using the word hate. Like, one of the best students in his class, if any of the teachers want to back me up there, they can. They no longer see him like that, just because of the way he struggled to wear his mask. And I tried to get him to wear his mask right. And so this year, I know that you guys are in a tough situation, and it's no fault of your guys', I know that. But I don't know that I can make him go through it again. So I wasn't even going to speak, because I know it's not your guys' faults. But I can't send my student, even though he's not a kindergartner. He can make his own choices, but I can't send him to school angry anymore. I can't have people hate him because he's not choosing to wear that uniform. But thank you for letting me speak.
Evidence from other school board meetings and the news. But I agree with, I think it was Jason Kerr that, or maybe this was the teacher that brought up the ORS 3988 or 398288. That's violating the law. Our kids went through it way too long, and we will not ask our child or our children. We just ask you, the school board and all school personnel in which we pay and support, to stand up for our children and our freedom of choice. We're no longer going to stand in fear or instill fear in our children. I'm tired of hearing my kids tell me they don't want to go to school. They're tired of going to school for the mask. Complaining of daily headaches, feeling dizzy. My son almost passed out twice last year, and he has a seizure disorder. I'm tired of explaining why things are this way when we spend all summer at events with friends and family unmasked. We trust what you guys each day to teach our children and protect our children, love our children as we do in our homes. We just know what's best for our children. Kate Brown, the Oregon Department of Education, and the OHA do not. And I stand with other parents. I'm sure there's people that aren't going to speak that want the mask removed. I want you guys to stand up and say no to Kate Brown.
Amen.
We are grateful for your comments and your concerns, and we're listening, and we've heard you. We're going to have a discussion after this regarding what the kind of a summary of what our work session was previously, reviewing some of the laws, regulations, the disciplinary action for not only your teachers, but actually the liability for your board, which was not brought forth until the meeting last night. So we're gonna discuss that, but I want you to know that we do hear you and we do appreciate you. And we may possibly share a similar opinion, or we may not.